Welcome. Welcome, everyone. My name is Pamela Nathanson, and I'm the Executive Director of World Connect, an organization activating power inside communities by co-investing with them in their ideas to drive development. Please introduce yourselves in the chat so that we can see where folks are joining us from today. To tell you a bit about World Connect before we jump in, we are an organization that has co-invested in 2,136 locally determined priority projects across 42 countries that have delivered better health, education, economic opportunity, and environmental conditions for more than 4 million people across the globe. What is locally led development? It is simply that we only fund the ideas that come from communities. Communities are best positioned to decide what to focus on because they know their needs and opportunities best. In a world in which less than 1% of development assistance reaches communities, co-investing with communities offers a different paradigm with dramatically better results. Our community co-investment model is based on the fundamental value that communities not only have the ideas to lead their own development, but also the capacity and resources. It is not only a more dignified way to advance development, it is more effective and cost efficient. 60% of our community partners, like two you'll meet today, have never received funding before World Connect. Our mission to find and fund new talent across the globe pays off. 94% of the projects we fund achieve their goals, and 80% see sustained impact 4 years after funding. Our funding opens new doors, leverages new funding, and helps build stronger civil society. 75% of our partners see increased resources after receiving a grant from World Connect. So for every $100 we invest, an additional $142 is unlocked by money communities contribute and raise. I'm so grateful that you have joined us today to travel to Ecuador and Malawi to learn more about our work in both countries and to hear about two impressive projects. Our first stop is Ecuador, where we'll join a conversation between Ali Tolbert and Marisol Gallegos. Ali has been a partner to World Connect for 12 years. We met her when she was a U.S. Peace Corps volunteer in Ecuador, and she referred to us a $500 project in which we invested in a women's artisan cooperative. The leader of that cooperative is now the vice mayor of Cuenca, Ecuador's third largest city, and the project leader credits World Connect with growing her confidence as an innovator. She is spreading a culture of investing in women leaders, and what started with 40 women has grown to 400 women. Ali continues to work with us in Ecuador. This year, she has helped us launch 9 new projects in the Amazon region. She has also helped get Fundación Guate Conecta, our newest grant-making hub, off the ground in Guatemala. Here we are with members of our team and Nobel Peace Prize laureate Rigoberta Menchú. Welcome to the Partner Showcase, Ali.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Pamela. It's really great to be here. First, I wanted to share a little bit about me and my story in Ecuador with World Connect. So my name is Ali. I'm originally from the US, and for the past 11 years, Ecuador has been my home. I first arrived as a 24-year-old Peace Corps volunteer, naturally exploring that existential question of how can a foreigner support rural communities. I was still learning, but I knew that I wanted to support communities from behind and to listen instead of teach. So I met a special group of women who wanted to be entrepreneurs, and I started looking for funding to help them get started. When I first heard of World Connect, I liked the application because it was straightforward, open, and it let the community propose an idea. So I sat down with the women and I wrote down what they envisioned, using the $500 grant to invest in uniforms and a tent so they could sell their products. A few months after this grant, the group had doubled and the sales were growing. So for this group, an open application led to the opening of opportunity. Over the past decade, I've focused my energy on amplifying community voices, centering their priorities, and bridging them with resources. And over the past decade, many of these communities have received World Connect grants to get their projects off the ground. Women entrepreneurs have created small businesses that range from catering to tourism. Indigenous women have created space for community leaders to learn and support one another. Permaculture gardens have been planted in homes for food security. And organic seed banks have been reinstated in Indigenous communities as a way to improve nutrition and strengthen cultural revitalization. So each project has been designed and led by community members, and each project has been unique and creative in its own way. And there are very few funders who truly embrace this approach, and it shouldn't be so revolutionary, but I find myself compelled to say it anytime I can. When we want to help somebody, we have to listen to them and then support accordingly. The impact is deeper and the path is more sustainable. We all learn and are inspired in that process. And that's why I like to always say that World Connects lets communities do what communities do best. So now for the past 3 years, I've been working as a program associate for World Connect to build the program in Ecuador. So far, we've supported 51 communities with a total of $208,000 of funding. And these communities span from the Ecuadorian coast across the Andes Mountains, all the way deep into the Amazon rainforest. And today I'm extremely excited to share with you all one particular project led by an amazing woman who's part of a women entrepreneur group in the cloud forest of Ecuador, which is one of the most biodiverse places in our world. After their first World Connect grant, this group's income increased by 20% in only 6 months. And over 3 years, they've received $11,000 to invest in the development of 10 small businesses. They are cultivating a truly regenerative model, so creating economic opportunity for themselves and future generations while also being in harmony with the environment around them. So to everyone with us today, I present to you Marisol Gallegos. Hi, Marisol. How are you? It's really good to see you.
Hi, Ali. Yes, I'm really well. I'm happy to see you today.
How's the farm? How is everything over there?
Well, the farm here right now, it's really rainy in the cloud forest. Is the winter, so this is the kind of weather that we get at this time of the year. So we're really busy planting coffee, taking care of different crops, fruit trees, and just really going crazy with all the planting.
So lovely. So please tell me a little bit about yourself for everybody who is here with us today.
Okay, my name is Marisol Gallegos, and I was born in Guayaquil. It's the biggest city in Ecuador by the coast. And I applied for a scholarship to go to university in the US, and I had the great opportunity to go there. And I got the scholarship, and I studied biology and environmental science there, and then lived in the US for several years. And then I came back to Ecuador to try to accomplish my dream of living in a farm in the forest. And here I am. So I live here in the northern part of Ecuador in the cloud forest.
Would you share a little bit more about the cloud forest?
Yes, yeah, it's a very unique place. We are at 1,800 meters of altitude, and we are in what's called the cloud forest because it's mainly covered by clouds most of the year. And in this place, because of the weather, you can find very special microclimates and endemic species of plants and animals here. And the community is a very small community. It's about 50 families and about 150 people in total. Everybody knows each other. We all work together to do maintenance of the roads, and when there are festivities in the village, we all come out together and bring food and share.
And what brought the women together for this project that we're going to talk about today?
I always wanted to work with the local women, so I these are all my neighbors, and we met and started talking about our businesses and projects that we want to have in this community. So we started very spontaneously meeting, and then COVID hit on 2020, and then around that time, um, we saw that it was necessary to join forces to be able to have a better economy locally. And I presented this idea to the group, and the women were very excited to apply for a grant. And because each woman had an idea in their heads of what they want to do. And through having a little bit of economical support, they could really be successful. When we applied for this grant, we had regular meetings, and we all sit in a circle, and each woman shares what they want to do, what their vision is, and we all get to give each other feedback about what we are presenting. So that has been really wonderful and very enriching.
To kind of go back to those who don't know about this specific project, the primary focus is having environmentally friendly income generating activities that can also be opportunities for future generations. And so one thing which maybe you can touch on is there's a lot of different threats that are making it difficult not only to make a living, but to continue living in the valley and in the community. So before we continue, I'm curious if you could share just a little bit about that.
Always the vision of the collective has been to preserve the cloud forest. Because there are several threats in the valley, and one of those is mining. And there are several Canadian and Chinese mining companies that have come to this area looking for to exploit copper, silver, and gold, mainly copper. So when there is a need for an income, some of the people go to work for these mining companies, or they have to leave to the cities. So the youth especially. So that has been one of the challenges that the community faces, and that the women want to be able to solve.
And I believe it's about 3,000 acres of primary forest are protected because of the women entrepreneurs staying in the community and staying on their land and having an income, which is really beautiful. So this group received 2 grants over 3 years of $11,000, and this has supported 10 women in developing small businesses, ecotourism, and other environmentally friendly businesses over those past 3 years. So can you tell me a little bit more about the businesses that have been either created or developed because of this project?
Yes, when we started, we had 5 women, and the projects were an edible cricket farm, agroecology, guinea pig raising farm, pig and quails, and ecotourism cabins. Now we have expanded. The collective keeps growing. Now we have 10 women and possibly 12 next year. And the activities are similar. They're focused always on ecotourism, agroecology, or small animal raising, which are our main 3 pillars. And the women have decided that these are the 3 main activities that we want to develop on.
And so this group has also contributed a total of $3,564 dollars of community co-investment. And so when we talk about community co-investment, that means that the community is contributing not only cash, but also in-kind resources, which is really important to recognize. As part of the community co-investment, there is a portion of it that is in cash. So could you tell us a little bit about where that came from and how that was organized?
Yes, the collective has a group or collective saving box. So each woman puts monthly a certain amount of money in this box. So each woman uses that cash to reinvest in their project.
Wanted to ask, now that it's 3 years later since we began the first application, what does the community impact look like?
It has changed a lot because each woman now has their own project that they have invested in, and they manage their own more formal project or little business. The women have gotten involved, their children now. Some of the teenagers mainly, they come out to the fairs, and sometimes they substitute their moms when they can't come. So it feels like it is passing on to the children now and the community. I have seen on my in the collective and my friends and neighbors, all these women are my neighbors, and I speak for myself too. We have empowered ourselves. We are able to speak up what we think more. I think that having your own small project gives you the choice to manage the money and make choices. There are a couple of women in the group, Maria, Norma. They're they speak a lot more now, in the meetings we have, not only in the collective, but also in the community, about our beliefs, about what goals we have and where we want to see the community go.
It's so inspiring how the group defines success. Since the first day after you had done the project application and really united under this vision that you had for the Valley and the communities, I find it so inspiring how it's about being community rich and nature rich, and seeing this success as not a linear economic type success that oftentimes coming from the Western world I was taught was development, right? And it's seeing it in a circular way, seeing this harmony between your water sources, your food sources, and your humans all working together instead of it being one over the other. And I think that your group and the women, everybody speaks about it in their own very beautiful way when I've sat down and talked to you all. And seeing that this opportunity for economic success is not just for one person to be making money, but for your future generations to continue stewarding the land. I wanted to kind of reflect that back because I found that to be such a beautiful part of the work that you're doing there, and the leadership that you've been doing as well as a leader of the group, leading from behind and not so much saying, oh, it's Marisol's group. It's so much a group activity, and that is because of your leadership. I want to thank you so much for everything that you do in the community and in the Valley, and also with us, as a friend, as a coworker, as a partner with World Connect. I appreciate it a lot.
Thank you, Ali. I really, really believe the women are a key factor in the change, for positive change in the world and in this valley, to preserve the forest, to make each family sustainable. And now the children are getting involved. We see a future in this. So we're very happy, and it has been wonderful to be part of this World Connect experience. And we also thank you guys for all your support and for being our partners in these projects.
Hi, Marisol.
Thank you, Ali and Marisol. We recorded that video because we are always worried about Wi-Fi connectivity, but Ali and Marisol are with us live and will be available to answer questions later. Please feel free to drop any questions in the chat for them. As I mentioned before, World Connect is a first funder for 60% of our grantees, and yet 94% achieve their goals. This high success rate demonstrates the value of funding priorities set by communities and co-investing with communities. In this case, as Ali mentioned, World Connect invested $11,000. The community co-invested $3,000 and raised an additional $500. The women saw their income increase, and not only does that create more economic security for their families, it creates a more dynamic local economy. More tangible economic opportunities at home means less pressure to migrate to cities or abroad. We actually made a short film about these impressive women entrepreneurs in the cloud forest, and our film has been nominated for a Smiley Charity Film Award. We're putting a link in the chat where you can watch the film and vote for it. Now we head over to Malawi, where World Connect began working in 2018. And the first smart thing we did there was to engage Frank Kasonga as our leader. Frank has overseen the launch of 349 projects with the same impressive results as we see globally. 9 out of 10 communities are succeeding with their World Connect projects, and 80% are sustaining 4 years after our support, demonstrating the replicability of our community co-investment model. Our work in Malawi now operates under the banner of Mudzi Connect. Mudzi means community in Chichewa, the local language in Malawi. Frank is here talking with Thomas Ingwira, who led a project that was one of our most unique because it was pitched to us by children in the Nikorongo community, who said that they would be more inclined to go for HIV testing and AIDS treatment or to accompany their parents if there was a playground at their local health clinic. We funded that playground with $750, and the clinic saw testing and treatment adherence increase 500%. We followed that investment with a $10,000 investment to support the health clinic to add a dedicated facility for HIV testing and AIDS treatment. Over to you, Frank, for more about this heartwarming story.
Thank you, Pamela. My apologies to our reviewers. You're going to see my voice is a little bit low because of the flu. But greetings to you all from Lilongwe, Malawi. My name is Frank Kasonga, and I'm the Executive Director of Mudzi Connect. Before taking on this role, I had many years of experience in international development from all angles and big and small organizations. Development has been my life's career, so to say. But what drew me close to Mudzi Connect is the locally led approach to development. As opposed to a top-down approach, this means that we listen to communities to tell us what their development priorities are and how they propose to address them. Communities design their own projects based on their deeply rooted understanding of what will work in their unique context. And at Mudzi Connect, we co-invest in these locally led development projects with grant funding. And as you have heard from my colleagues there, the communities co-invest along with us, providing cash, labor, supplies, and other locally available materials. This approach of local-led development and co-investment means that you can implement projects quickly, in less than a year, get results early, and you can see the projects have a long-lasting impact because the communities have full ownership of these projects. What is so wonderful about local development is that the ideas that originate from communities are innovative, and this project that we hear more about it today is a great example of that. Few of us would go to a rural health center in Malawi or even elsewhere and think to ourselves, what this place needs is a playground. But that is what children themselves propose as the best way to attract more children and parents to the health center for HIV testing, counseling, and treatment. The success of the playground project led to another investment by Mudzi Connect at this health center, when the community proposed building a separate ART center that would provide greater privacy to the people when they are seeking services. I love that these two solutions to support HIV healthcare came directly from the communities, were implemented by the community themselves and are successful because of the community. Our partner in these two projects has been Thomas Ingwira, who is a social worker, turned a social worker from being a forest worker in the community of Nkolongo in the outskirts of Mzuzu City in the northern Malawi. Let's listen to my conversation with Thomas to learn more about how he listened to the children of his community.
Hello, Mr. Ingwira. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. How are you?
Well, Frank, I'm just perfect. How are you over there?
I am very well. Long time since we came and visited your project.
Yeah, long time. But, it's about time. So today, let's chat.
All right, Mr.
Sure.
Ngwira. Please, I invite you to tell us about yourself so that people can know you better, where you grew up, and how you became a social worker.
I'm the founder and executive director of Action for Sustainable Development, which is actually a Malawian NGO. So I founded it, and I'm leading the organization. In terms of education, I'm holding a bachelor degree in forestry. But now, what happened was when I stayed around, I found that in the community where I stay in Korongo, there are a lot of gaps which needed attention, in particular children. The prevalence of HIV/AIDS has been very great, and many children have been suffering, no great attention, poor health, illnesses, and the other children could die. I felt very much concerned about it.
Yep.
Now I had to drop my field of profession as a forester. I said, no, let me take myself into social work so that at least I have to contribute something. So that's how I came up with this organization with my colleagues to make sure that we do something about these children. They have to live long, they have to be productive, and they do something in a country that could be more good for themselves and for everyone.
Tell me then, you are withdrawing from becoming a forester and you are coming this community. What is this community you are talking about? Tell us about this community.
This community is called Nkorongo. I may share with you that the area is having 12,000 people. It's quite compacted. Everybody's busy doing whatever I can do to make a living.
You were talking about children. What's the HIV/AIDS situation like? What's the prevalence like in this community?
As I indicated to you, Frank, to say that HIV has been very rampant. And currently, in general, the HIV status in Mzuzu City is about 10.6%. But in particular, in Nkorongo, because of the services that we've been we are providing, it is down. It is below. It is below 5%.
I remember very well you mentioned two projects there. You mentioned two projects, and one an ART HIV clinic, and then the playground. And I remember very well the first being the playground. Okay, and from one that is not coming from Nkorongo would wonder why the playground and how did it come to pass?
Frank, I want to say this to you to say that when we talk of HIV, sometimes we look at certain things and overlook certain things as well. For example, most of the people, they would say to reduce or to combat the effects of hunger or impact of HIV, you have to take good food, you have to take drugs, these obvious things. But we overlook certain things which are also great use to the children and everyone. Now, it was very surprising to say that when we called for a meeting for the children in the community, they came large numbers, and then we asked them to say, you guys, tell us what issues challenges you in terms of HIV. And it was very surprising. We said we divided these children into 3 groups to say we gave them the papers to outline the challenges that are facing in HIV. So they brought the papers together and then vote based on what was received. And it was very surprising to say that playground was the topmost priority, because children said we lack recreation. And you can see that sometimes we overlook issues of recreation, but the children said we need recreation and we need a playground. We're very surprised. So then we said, okay, this is great. Let's look into. So the process was actually participatory, and we are very happy that it came as a number 1 priority to build a playground. So,
but the fact that you had to speak to the children, and the children really, and this is why they came up with a playground, because these are children we're talking about. These are children we're talking about. So they had to come up with whatever is good for them. And I'm very happy and excited that this happened in this way, because this is how us also as World Connect and Moses Connect, we operate. We believe in listening to the communities, listening from their voices, and letting them go forward and advise us on what is the pertinent issue that is happening. Now, as you rightly said, this playground has been identified by the communities. And you approached World Connect, which gave you $750, a small amount of money. But then the community also invested $350. I was wondering, where did this money come from in the community? Because you said these are poor people. Where did this money come from, and how did they contribute?
Frank, I should say to you that Nkorongo Health Center, sometimes Nkorongo community is well organized. This Nkorongo community, they have what they call Community Development Fund. They do contribute regularly. So they have a total fund. They have an account in the bank where they keep this money. Whenever there's a committee running this this fund. So when this project was chosen, and we are assured for funding to say this is what Connect is coming into fund, and you have to do something. It didn't take long, because the committee just came into the pocket, the fund, tapped from there, and they straight away contribute.
You have constructed this playground in the community. From somebody like me who is an outsider, meaning I don't live in Nkorongo, what are the results that we can see? What can we see as a change that this playground has brought to the children?
You know, this playground has brought a lot of oneness. Now, this oneness has actually resulted into great access in terms of counseling from the health personnel at the health center. The ARV drugs now are being received. So the sicknesses are no longer there. Counseling accessed. Adherence to ARV uptake. And even the parents themselves, they come to us to our organization to say, the playground has been very useful. Our children are happy, they're growing healthy, they're interacting. So this kind of recreation, we know children will live longer now. Yeah.
Wow. And that's the best point of it, because you can do something, but if you're not getting the impact, then there's no use of building the playground. But if the impact is now to see the children are living healthy, they're able to go to school, or they're able to access the drugs, their adherence has increased, that's a big plus.
We are very much proud about this project.
Okay.
Because everybody now see the reality of life. Contribution that was made is seen to be meaningful.
Yeah.
World Connect, which we say Moses Connect today, the resource which was spent on this project is meaningful. Our energy as an organization which was spent in this project has been meaningful. The effort which the community had to put on this project is meaningful, because this playground and the clinic, they are not just laying there idle. They are being used. People are benefiting. The lives of the people are being saved.
Thank you so much for that answer. Very, very, very informative and very encouraging to see that the investment that was made in that community, now almost 4 years down the line, people are still using their services. This is what we call sustainability, and I love to hear that.
World Connect or Moods Connect, it encourages so much ownership of the project right from the start. They would like to see the project coming from the grassroots, not top down, which is quite sustainable. So this kind of encouragement, we see that this approach thus keeps the project long time, several years standing.
I really appreciate for your time. We've learned a lot, and then be assured, we appreciate the work that you do for the people of Nkorongo, because one life saved is so many lives important to us as World Connect, and indeed, I believe to you as I said. And let me commend you. You never foughted when you defaulted leaving forest to come into saving lives. It's the best thing that we can do.
Thank you, Frank and Thomas. I love that project so much. As one of our board members likes to say, would we have thought as outsiders that a strategy to increase HIV testing and AIDS treatment would be increased by building a playground at a clinic? By listening to the ideas of children, we saved lives. By honoring the vision of communities, we get it right 94% of the time. Our impact shows how important it is to be open to new sources of ideas and to be ready to trust. Thank you, Ali, Marisol, Frank, and Thomas for this excellent walk through your work together in Ecuador and Malawi. We now have time for some questions from our audience, and our team is here live and ready to respond. So the first question is for, of course, Marisol and then Thomas. And we want to know, what surprised you in leading your projects? Marisol, maybe we could go to you first.
Hi, hello. Yes, what surprised me the most in leading this project, I guess it could be we live in a very Catholic and also male dominated society here. However, most of the husbands or all the husbands were very, very supportive towards the women to lead their own projects independently. Also with sharing it with the family, talking to the family about what they were proposing. So it's been really amazing, wonderful, and a bit surprising in a positive way, inspiring and encouraging that the men are behind all of these too, supporting the women in each project. Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Marisol. Thomas, can you come in and tell us your thoughts about what surprised you in leading your project? Maybe just come off mute. Thank you.
Just a moment.
Yes.
Just a moment. Up and do it.
Yes, you're live with us. Thank you. Can you tell us what surprised you? Yeah.
Well, thank you for asking. What surprised me in the project is that the children had to choose the playground, and as in the video we indicated, say that it brings children together without looking at the status or where the child come from. Some are come from rich families, others are from poor families, you know. But because of this playground, all the children are brought together under the common interest. So this is quite amazing.
Thanks, Thomas. And while we have you, what would you say was the hardest part of implementing your project?
So what?
The most difficult part of implementing your project?
It's not this.
The most difficult part when implementing the project.
Oh, the most difficult part. No, we didn't see any different difficult part, because mostly when you're doing a project, mostly it's about community contribution. But since the community is well organized, it wasn't an issue. We could see the money being contributed from the community, and also unskilled labor. These are the major issues that that are seen in the projects, but you can see this was automatically solved. So there wasn't any problem at all.
Sure. Thanks, Thomas. Let's go back over to Ali and Marisol. Can you share the ways that people in your communities were inspired and unified after launching this project?
Yes. In my community of Santa Rosa here in the Cloud Forest, we have more women and more people in the community, more members of the community talking, sharing the activities that we are doing. The women are very inspired and they have joined and show a lot of interest in being part of this. So there are more people coming and joining forces to create new projects related to the agroecology, raising animals, and ecotourism. There's a few more small businesses coming up, starting, because the women see that this is really working for the women who are in the collective, and they're getting inspired to replicate something similar. And we have about maybe 5 more new women interested in joining and creating their own projects based on these 3 pillars that we talked about. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Marisol. I just wanted to mention the 4 areas that World Connect funds in. We make grants to support health projects, economic development projects, education, and environmental. I wanted to ask Ali and Frank to come back for 1 more minute to just close us out with their reflections and thoughts about working with these communities, how you appreciated the opportunity to trust the communities to lead their own initiatives, where that came from. I know, Ali, you've talked a lot about your experience as a young Peace Corps volunteer and how you have been so proud of your experience working in Ecuador and learning how to build new bridges and new relationships with communities. And then, Frank, maybe you can add to that as well. So, Ali, can you give us 1 last minute of reflection on your experience sourcing projects for World Connect when you were at the Peace Corps and since?
Sure. Thank you, Pamela. And thank you, everybody, for being here up until now. I would say, it's been a full 11 years now since this began for me. And so I think what's really beautiful is what I've focused on personally and professionally has always been like weaving this social fabric around me. And what's so beautiful about Ecuador is it's such a community-based, collective-based culture, generally speaking. And so when we're working with communities, we're working with resilient groups of individuals that take on different ideas and they're thinking beyond the individual. And so when we're investing in and collaborating, every community is so different. And so there's a lot of diversity in what their creative responses are to each challenge. They might have similar challenges, but each community is looking at their solution in a different way. And so, it's always surprising and it's always inspiring. And so far what we've seen is it's always very impactful as well.
Thanks, Ali. Frank, we just have a very short amount of time, and I know you're not feeling well, but you must be feeling very proud of a project like Thomas's.
Yes, Pamela, thank you so much. And I think I must state that I'm coming from a background where I was implementing top-down projects, and coming into this organization, listening from the communities, there are too many things that I even cannot finish talking about excitement. One of them is that when projects are co-created and designed by the communities, they end up solving the long-standing challenges within the communities that no one is looking after. And then that brings cohesion, unity, togetherness, and then the investment from the communities themselves, taking care of the projects. That's why you see these projects, the HIV playground. It's now almost 5 years, but it's still running because it is owned by the communities themselves. So that's exciting, because if development was done this way, I believe by now we would have sustainable and done away with elephant projects across Malawi and then globally. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. Can't say it any better than that. Thank you all so much for being with us today. Please continue to follow our work at worldconnect.global. We really are grateful to Ali, Marisol, Frank, and Thomas for this wonderful presentation. We'll do more of them in the future, so stay following us and tune in the future. Happy holidays to everyone, and thanks for being with us.